Teacher Talking Sports, what does, what do, how we live. In each and every Thursday, I've been doing a series called Is He a Hall of Famer, where take a look at a player whose career is either winding down or has recently ended and take a look at their Hall of Fame chances. I only look at players who really could be considered on the fence. I'm not looking for surefire Hall of Famers like an Aaron Rodgers or someone whose career just started, such as a Joe Burrow. This will be the 11th episode. Crazy how we're flying through. Today, we're going to take a look at a defensive player who did play last season, remains unsigned. Let's see if his career continues. He turned 36 on January 6th. Today's Is He a Hall of Famer? The 11th edition is defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh. Suh played collegiately at Nebraska and was selected with the second overall pick in the 2010 NFL Draft. He actually finished fourth in Heisman voting as a defensive player in 2009. Was drafted by the Detroit Lions. Suh would go on to play 5 seasons for the Lions before joining the Miami Dolphins in 2015. He played for the Dolphins for 3 seasons before playing for the Rams for 1 season in 2018. Then played 3 seasons for the Buccaneers 2019 to 2021. And he spent last season with the Eagles, signed about halfway through the season, playing in 8 regular season games and 3 postseason games. Let's take a look at Suh's career numbers via his Pro Football Reference page. So, all in all, 199 games played. I believe I read that's the 10th most by a defensive tackle ever. 71 and a half sacks in his career. If we take a look at his season by season numbers, so as of now has played 13 seasons in the NFL. We will see if his career extends. Was named to 5 Pro Bowls. All of them came within his first 7 seasons and was a 3-time first team All Pro in 2010, 2013, 2014. 2010 was his rookie season. That season, he was also named Defensive Rookie of the Year. He also had 2 second All Pro second teams in 2012 and 2016. 2010 saw him named as Defensive Rookie of the Year. That season, he finished with 10 sacks, which is still the most he's had in a season. But as a defensive tackle, he, always was a force against the passer, always provided a lot of pressure on the passer. Sack totals of 8.5, 8, 6, 5.5, 5, 3 seasons of 6. So, plenty of seasons where he was productive in rushing the passer and was a force as against the run. Huge man, as you see listed at 6'4", 313 pounds. Excellent tackle numbers for a defensive tackle. Career high 72 came in his Pro Bowl season with the Dolphins, but also recovered 9 fumbles in his career, 3 for touchdowns, had an interception as a rookie. Surprised by the low amount of forced fumbles, just 5, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Still was an extremely productive player, one of the most feared defensive tackles throughout his, at least the beginning portion of his career. All in all, 71 and a half sacks. Pro Football Reference has something known as approximate value. Basically, if you're at 10 or above for the season, you were a very good player. As you can see, Suh has 5 seasons with over a 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 18. So again, just an absolute force as a defensive tackle. And he produced in the postseason as well. We take a look here. He's had 7 sacks in 15 career playoff games, 12 of which are starts. Has appeared in 3 Super Bowls, including last season with the Eagles and the 2018 season with the Rams. They did lose both of those, but in 2020 was a starting defensive lineman for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, winning the Super Bowl. So he does have a Super Bowl championship on his ledger. If we take a look at Pro Football Hall of Fame monitor. So these are defensive tackles. So it mentions that the Pro Football Reference Hall of Fame monitor is a metric designed to estimate a player's chances of making the Pro Football Hall of Fame using approximate value, Pro Bowls, All Pros, championships, and various stat milestones. So these are the defensive tackles. We see Ndamukong Suh right here at 84.58. So everyone above him is in the Hall of Fame except for Kevin Williams. Kevin Williams, you really haven't heard much about him, um, possibly getting in. He hasn't been eligible that long, though, a few seasons. And Aaron Donald, who will get in the Hall of Fame, that's, without a doubt, first year of eligibility, he's getting in. But Sue does have a higher rating than defensive tackles in the Hall of Fame, including Alex Karras, Buck Buchanan, Bryant Young, Curly Culp, and Joe Klecko. So according to that score, he has a fairly good chance of getting into the Hall of Fame. Take a look at some of his career marks. So his approximate value is actually 164th all time, but think of all the seasons. Um, all the players that played in the NFL. 2014 is 18 was sixth. Games started 191 in his career, 97th all time in sacks, but again, a defensive tackle. So 130 tackles for loss or 17th. Three times finished in the top six for the season in tackles for loss. Again, Sue was a guy who was a force both against the run and the pass. All types of offensive players feared him, from the quarterbacks to the running backs to the offensive linemen. Definitely was a load to handle, especially in his Detroit and Miami games, but still was a very productive player in the two Super Bowl years with Los Angeles and Tampa Bay. Philly, he played more, didn't have a huge role with them. This was written by CBS Sports' Brian DiArdo in right before this year's Super Bowl. So mentions 11 Eagles and Chiefs players with a shot of Hall of Fame ranked by tiers, three locks at the top. So, of course, it was the Chiefs and Eagles. Sue was on the Eagles last season, as good as gold. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, not quite there, but trending toward Kent and Chris Jones. Still a lot of his career left. Great career that may come up short. Listed here, and Ndamukong Suh. So it goes on to say, Sue's had a remarkable, albeit odd career. Former number 2 overall pick, Suh was tabbed to NFL's 2010s All-Decade team. Both the Pro Football Hall of Fame and Pro Football Reference put him on their first team all 2010s team as a defensive tackle after racking up 5 Pro Bowls in his first 7 seasons. While his Pro Bowl selections have dried up since 2016, Suh played integral roles on a Rams team that went to the Super Bowl and a Buccaneers team that won it all in 2020. Suh's numbers don't jump off a page. He has 71 and a half sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 9 fumble recoveries in 199 career games, 7.5 more sacks in 14 playoff games, now 15, and is currently ranked number 12 on Pro Football Reference's Hall of Fame monitor as far as defensive tackles are concerned. Defensive tackle has not necessarily been a position that has seen a ton of guys get in. The 2 guys whose career has most recently ended, who have since been enshrined, 2 guys whose playing career ended in 2007. Those are Warren Sapp, who I believe was first ballot, and Bryant Young, who just recently got inducted, so he had to wait a while. This is via USA Today, Bucks Wire. This was written in 2020. So it says, Bill Barnwell looks at Ndamukong Suh's Hall of Fame chances. Bill Barnwell writes for ESPN, probably my favorite writer, maybe on any platform, at least when it comes to football. So he was looking at active players' Hall of Fame chances in 2020. So keep in mind, Suh played 2 more seasons after this was written. 2 more seasons or 3? It was written August 6th, so he actually played 3 more seasons after this. But so back then, Barnwell believes Suh was in the running for a gold jacket, giving him a 40 to 60% chance of ending up in the Hall of Fame. Per Barnwell, Timing can matter for players, been weird for Suh. 2010 number 2 pick, was a 4-time Pro Bowler and a 3-time All-Pro during his 5 seasons in Detroit. Looked to be firmly on a Hall trajectory at that point, but over the ensuing 5 seasons, now 8, just one Pro Bowl appearance. Stayed healthy and productive, so hasn't been the issue. The Nebraska product nearly won a Super Bowl with the Rams 2018, but a win with the Bucks and one more All-Pro appearance would greatly help his chances. Well, he didn't get that one more All-Pro appearance, but he did win a Super Bowl with the Bucks, which definitely helps his case with Hall of Fame voters. You take a look; he was a guy who really didn't miss too many games in his career. Um, Keep in mind, until the past 2 seasons, seasons were 16 games long, so did not miss a game from 2012 to 2021. Rookie played every game, just missed 2 games in 2011. The only 2 games he missed, keep in mind, last season he didn't sign until midway through the season. So definitely a guy who stayed on the field. If you do remember, Ndamukong Suh, towards the beginning of his career, could be looked at as somewhat of a dirty player. Did stomp on someone's helmet, and had other moments that got him fined. So voters may keep that in mind, but he's definitely had a clean slate for the most part for like the past decade. But my final verdict, is Ndamukong Suh a Hall of Famer? I'm going to say yes. I think he may have to wait a decent amount of time, but he was one of the most feared defensive tackles for a good half decade, 6, 7 seasons. Again, all 2010s team by both Pro Football Reference and Pro Football Hall of Fame. A guy who never missed action, was productive in the postseason, has a Super Bowl ring. I'm going to say Ndamukong Suh eventually gets in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure how long he's going to have to wait. Again, defensive tackle isn't a position that sees a lot of guys get in, although Aaron Donald, as I mentioned, is a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. But eventually, I think Suh gets that gold jacket. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Ndamukong Suh is a future Hall of Famer? Also, let me know players you'd like me to do in the near future. I may switch this up where it doesn't necessarily have to be a player whose career just ended. Eventually you run out of players. And honestly, there aren't too many guys in MLB to do with um, saying that a career just ended or it's winding down. Guys like active players, Adam Wainwright, Madison Bumgarner, probably short of the Hall of Fame. Yadier Molina's getting in, Zach Greinke's getting in. But again, let me know some ideas of players you would like to see me do. Don't forget to subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend to subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.